Chapter 89. How can love be so cruel? This was never meant to be a duel. There's something badly amiss when tears season our very last kiss. Agneta woke up when Keivan turned around. Sleepily she asked him if he was having a hard time sleeping. He turned and looked at her. I thought you were sleeping. She saw the anxiety on his face. What's wrong? He hesitated before finally answering. I'm thinking about how to tell Jenny. Tell her what? Agneta yawned and put a hand in front of her mouth in case her breath smelled bad. They were getting engaged. Suddenly she was completely awake. What do you mean? We'll just tell her. I mean, we've been together for more than a year. She's been with that maniac. It's been a long time since the two of you were together. You know, I mean, we'll just tell her, right? I know, but still, an engagement is so definitive. Her heart beat rapidly. Yes, I know, but our relationship has always been definite, hasn't it? I mean, we're not one-night stand type of people. It's not like it's going to be a big surprise, is it? Her heart kept beating hard when she waited for an answer that seemed to take forever. She's our best friend. We must tell her before she gets the invitation. We can't let her find out at the same time as everyone else. She needs to know before the others. He spoke quietly and softly, but she heard the determination loud and clear. I'll talk to her tomorrow. Sure, let's go visit and tell her tomorrow. I'll see her at the rehearsal with the band. I'll tell her then. You don't need to come along. Well, okay, just do that then. Tell her yourself if you think it's so important. She turned her back towards him, pulling the duvet so hard he ended up with almost none of it. Not that he noticed. He just lay there motionless, staring into the darkness. The rehearsal was intense. Jenny's new raw style was not joyous like it had been her first time in the band, but it was full of energy and power that flowed over the audience every time they performed. When it took a break, she wiped the sweat from her forehead and dried her hands on her jeans. Keivan approached her and asked if they could talk. She shrugged at the question, finding it stupid. Of course they could talk. Without the others, outside. She lifted an eyebrow. Now what? They went out in the pom-pom's garden. What's the matter? She wrapped her arms around herself in the chilly December night. Keivan swallowed. He cleared his throat and then swallowed again. It took several seconds before he managed to get his voice in order. Agneta and I, we're going to get engaged. And he flinched. She looked at him for a moment, briefly, but still long enough for him to perceive the pain in her eyes. Then she stared unseeingly at some point behind him. He approached her and put his arm around her shoulders. She turned as if she wanted to move his arm, but she did so half-heartedly, so he let it stay there. Okay. Her voice was thin. When? We're having an engagement party on Valentine's Day. I wanted to talk to you before we sent the invitation. But we won't get married until a little over a year after that. Then we have time to live together, figure out how that will work, and still meet my parents' expectations, at least almost, of not being together without being married. Okay, she repeated tonelessly. Congratulations. Jenny, he grabbed her shoulders hard. I'm not sure I'm doing the right thing. Oh no, please don't. Don't involve me in your hesitation. I can't stand it, don't you understand? Her eyes looked shiny. Tears. Tears in Jenny's eyes. All he had ever wanted was to make her happy. But you're the reason I'm doubting. Why? You broke up with me, remember? She turned away. You know I didn't break up with you because I stopped loving you. On the contrary, I broke up with you because I loved you too much. Being with me was terrible for you after what happened. I didn't want to see that, so I ended it. It seemed like like the only solution. Jenny heard the tears in his voice and turned around. There was no point in being angry with him. She knew he was telling the truth. I know. But if you thought that was the best solution then, why is it different now? He shrugged. I guess nothing has changed. It's just the engagement. It makes everything so definitive. I'll never ever have a chance to be together with you again, and I don't know if I'm ready to accept that. They stood in silence, letting their eyes fill with tears and their hearts with pain. Suddenly, Jenny laughed, shortly and joylessly. Do you hear yourself? You're doing exactly what you accused me of doing. He stared at her, not understanding at all. you accused me of not loving you as I loved Peter. I was hoping that the way I loved you would be enough. It was a different kind of love, filled with security and friendship, but it was no worse or less than what I felt for Peter. But you didn't think that was enough. You wanted me to love you the way I loved Peter, and you hated that I still felt love when I was reminded of him. Keva nodded. And? I'm Peter, Agneta is you. You love me as I loved Peter. You love Agneta as I loved you. Now you stand here, saying you went to have your cake and eat it too. Slowly dawned on him that he was using Agneta in the same way he had once thought Jenny was using him. More than that, he understood how Jenny had felt all the time she had been with him. Love, of course, but not intoxicatingly passionate love. He shook his head violently. Why can't life be easier? Why can't you love me as Agneta does? Why can't I love her as I love you? The questions echoed between them. They both knew there were no answers. Get engaged to her, Kevan. It's still the best solution. When she started walking towards the house again, he grabbed her arm. Jenny? He said nothing more, but his eyes spoke volumes. He kissed her, and she answered the kiss with more passion than he could remember she had ever done when they were together. They both knew it was their very last kiss.